Hello and welcome to Prospero Teaching's course, An Introduction to Teaching in the UK. If you're a teacher from another country thinking of coming to join us in the UK, then take this course and see what it's all about. We will cover an overview of the UK school system, and then you can take our quiz to check how much you know. The video will stop automatically when it's time for the quiz questions. Let's have a look at some general information about teaching in UK schools. First of all, don't worry, it's really common for schools in the UK to employ teachers from other countries. Schools will also have trainee teachers from the UK who are learning the system too. Education in the UK is divided into 5 key stages. Before the start of these key stages, children attend nursery schools up until the age of 5. Nurseries cover the early years foundation stage, which precedes the first key stage. The year groups in UK schools are numbered from 1 all the way to 13. Years 1 to 6 are in primary school, which children attend from 5 to 11 years old. Primary schools cover key stages 1 and 2. Secondary schools educate young people from 11 years old to 16 years old, and this covers key stages 3 and 4. Key stage 4 is when students take their GCSE exams or other vocational exams. At 16 years old, students choose whether they would like to attend a sixth form or a college to pursue A-levels or other vocational subjects, or whether they would like to leave formal education. If they choose to stay in education, then they will study Key Stage 5 subjects. Key Stage 5 covers the last 2 year groups of UK education, years 12 and 13. You can see here how the ages of children match up with the different schools that they would attend. You can also see the different key stages that those students are in, and at what age they would take their formal qualifications like GCSE exams and A-levels. Students take GCSE exams for each subject they are studying between the ages of 15 and 16 years old. Until the age of 5, children attend nursery school, part-time or full-time depending on their age. At 5 years old, children enter a reception class. This covers the early years foundation stage, even though children will be in a primary school. After the reception year, children enter year 1 of primary school, where they begin Key Stage 1 learning. It's quite common for nurseries and primary schools to be in the same building. However, it is much less common for primary schools and secondary schools to be in the same building, and often children will have to go to a completely separate school for their secondary education. We will have a quick look now at the UK curriculum, how this is taught and how it is assessed. The UK government produce a national curriculum for all ages of student in the UK. There are, however, a number of schools who do not follow the national curriculum completely, and for those schools this is more of a guide than a strict framework. For whatever subject or age range you're teaching, it's a good idea to have a look at the national curriculum, but also bear in mind that the school might differ slightly in the content that they're teaching their students. Unlike some other countries, there is not one standard textbook for each subject, but rather a number of different companies that schools can buy textbooks from, and also their schemes of work. Some schools even write their own schemes of work, so it's a good idea to check with the teachers when you know where you're going to be working. For formal examinations at Key Stages 4 and 5, different examination boards will have slightly different subject matter, even though students will be taking the same qualification. For example, somebody studying GCSE Science with one exam board will have slightly different content to cover than somebody studying GCSE Science with a different exam board. If you'll be teaching GCSEs or A-levels, it's really important to ask the school which exam board they use for your subject so that you can look at the right textbook and resources. The grading system used in the UK differs depending on what key stage you are in. At Key Stages 1 and 2 in primary school, age-related targets are used. For example, a student might be classed as Year 2 Emerging, Year 2 Developing, or Year 2 Secure. Slightly different language will be used depending on what scheme of work the school are working with. but the descriptive words are usually split into 3 distinct categories. At Key Stages 3 and 4 in secondary school, number grades are used from 1 to 9, with 1 being the lowest grade awarded and 9 being the highest grade awarded. Schools use these for internal assessment, but this is also the grading system used for external GCSE exams. A grade 9 is only awarded to the top 3% of the whole country at GCSE for each subject, and so it is unlikely that you'll encounter a great many students that will receive this grade 9 at GCSE level. At Key Stage 5 for A-levels, letter grades are used, from G to A star, with G being the lowest and A star being the highest grade. UK classrooms are really diverse and it makes them a really fun and interesting place to be. Let's have a look at what this means for your teaching. There might be lots of different languages spoken in your classroom. Many students in UK cities don't speak English as their first language, and so you might have quite early learners of English to teach along with the other students in your classroom. Although there are schools for students with very specific disabilities, as far as possible, students with special educational needs are integrated into mainstream classrooms. There will be information available to you on how best to support these students, and you can talk to the Special Educational Needs Coordinator in the school if you need advice on making your lessons more accessible to them. In primary school, classes are completely mixed in terms of ability. You might find for some subjects like literacy and numeracy that students get put into groups so that the teacher can target specific needs of students, and it's also common for students to be sat on ability grouping tables during all lessons. When students enter secondary schools, it's more common for classes themselves to be split by ability. This is so that teachers can make their differentiation for students more focused. When looking at student data, schools focus on progress rather than attainment. Schools and individual teachers are judged on how much progress each student is making, meaning that even the top attaining students need to be pushed to progress further. Teachers need to make sure that they're supporting all students so that everybody makes progress. Let's do some quick true or false questions to test your knowledge so far.